You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
Your co-host, Danny.
And fans, we have an amazing show for you today. First, we pay homage to the Queen, a little NBA talk. These Brewers done made a trade, Danny, I just don't know about. A little NFL. And then we have a very intriguing trading card scenario and a pay homage to the Queen, Serena Williams, who has announced her evolution into another career evolution from tennis. And she says so in Vogue magazine. And I will just read here an excerpt here. And she says, I have never liked the word retirement. It doesn't feel like a modern word to me. I've been thinking of this as a transition, but I want to be sensitive about how I use that word, which means something very specific and important to a community of people. Maybe the best word to describe what I'm up to is evolution. I'm here to tell you that I'm evolving away from tennis toward other things that are important to me. A few years ago, I quietly started Serena Ventures, a venture capital firm. Soon after that, I started a family. I want to grow that family. That's just an excerpt from Vogue magazine in the September issue that is coming up. And Danny, what an awesome career. Danny, we're talking about a Serena Williams who has won 23 Grand Slam titles, seven of them coming from the Australia Open, 3 from the French Open, 7 from Wimbledon, and then 6 at the U.S. Open. And it seems like this is going to be her last hurrah here at the U.S. Open that is coming up. We'll see how she does, but man, what an awesome career on the court. But her impact all over the world is unmeasurable. I remember seeing her and her sister Venus coming on court with the beads and everything, man. And I was just so gung-ho and so prideful to see these young sisters on the court doing a thing, being unapologetically themselves. And that goes a long way, just not on the court, but whether it's in the boardroom, in the classroom, wherever. And so to see them be themselves and to see them do very well on the court, man, that just spoke volumes. So salute to Serena Williams. And thank you for all the great moments. And thank you for being yourself. What say you, Danny?
She's a global icon. And Venus doesn't get to shine like Serena, obviously, but she was great in her own way from a tennis perspective and from all the ventures she's done off the court as well. Seeing Richard Williams and the sisters coming out here, playing some tennis, and all the scrutiny they were under, all the pressure she was under, or both of them were under, is you can't even put it into words. And to go out and perform tournament after tournament, they had the doubles championships as well. So Serena and Venus had all the doubles championships. And there are a lot of championships that Serena was very close to winning. So that number could be drastically changed. I mean, she was very close in a lot of them. Even in her advanced age in her career from a tennis perspective. But now, every time I see that Michelob Ultra commercial, it was from the Super Bowl, and she walks into the bowling alley. You know, they got all the stars bowling, and she walks in. That's the respect that should be paid to her, man. She's done a lot for the culture. She's done a lot for tennis, and she's done a lot from an overall impact perspective, and wish her nothing but the best in her next ventures She's already successful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just taking it to the next level, which she's going to do. She's always pushing, and not settling. So congratulations to her, and wish her all the best.
And now, Danny, on to a surprising demand from none other than Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has actually gone to the Brooklyn Nets governor, Joe Tsai, and basically said, it's either me or the coach and the general manager. That being Steve Nash and Sean Marks. The governor, Joe Tsai, has actually decided, I'm sticking with the coach and the general manager. And this was just a surprising move, Danny. I did not see this one coming, especially from Kevin Durant. I don't know what the hell going on over there in Brooklyn, man. I really don't. Katie, I know you want out, but man, I think there's ways to go about doing it. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if this is Kyrie and KD plotting behind the scenes here. And with KD having more leverage than Kyrie at this juncture, is it that KD's just pushing and forcing the issue more so? This is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if he's going to get traded, Danny. I don't know who wants him. There were reports that the 76ers are actually considering doing something. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? First, KD wanted to go to Phoenix. Then Miami. I don't know, Danny. He's all over the place. Boston was in the mix at one point in time. I just don't know. I think this is a bad look, though, for the NBA and the Players Association. I think, because keep in mind, he just signed an extension.
Mm-hmm.
So he has like 4 years left on this deal.
Yep.
So in this next CBA agreement, NBA, Players Association, and the governors, I think it's going to be a very interesting time because these governors have so many examples of whether it's Ben Simmons not playing, whether it's Harden demanding out of Houston and ultimately demanding out of Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. There's just so many examples, man, of players just not actually either playing or wanting out of their contract early, whatever the case may be. This is going to be a problem. Now you have a megastar like a Kevin Durant asking out. This is a big problem, man. What say you, Danny?
Jason, if Brooklyn could do it all over again, before they signed KD and Kyrie, eventually traded for James Harden, they are sitting in the 7th spot in the playoffs with an up-and-coming scrappy team and mortgage their future to go the star route. Now, we all knew they needed another person or persons to be added to the squad. There's some lessons learned here, and I'm curious, like you said, in the future how this is going to be played out. But the superstars, it's not like you just jump from team like Anthony Davis did the same thing, right? With New Orleans. And there's a lot of money involved here. And you just can't, it's just hard for a team to just say, all right, KD, with your contract and your talent, we're going to trade with this team and gut their team. We talked about this in the past. Wherever he goes, the other team is going to have to give a haul back to the Brooklyn Nets.
Mm-hmm.
So unless there's some team that I'm not aware of that can do this and get away with it, he's not going to go wherever he goes. I don't see them turn into a champion unless he goes to like Golden State again, because they have the depth to handle something, absorb something like this. But we already saw what happened there with him and Draymond. I don't know, man. It's just tough to see this. Like I said, Brooklyn was on the up and up. They had a young squad, and they do, if depends on what they get back too, if they do follow through with this, where they land. But I don't know what Kyrie. It's just so much drama involved now.
All over the place.
And truth be told, last year, where did Brooklyn end up? They're the 8th spot in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't progressed over these couple years with KD and Kyrie and the experiment with James Harden. So there's a lot of soul searching that has to go down here with Brooklyn and what they're going to do, because that's going to hurt as well, because he has the star power, and that brings fans to the arena. And how do you play this? I'm very curious how this all goes down, and ultimately what the owner or the governor plans to do.
And now, Danny, on to this Brewers trade, and where the Brewers actually traded Josh Hader to the San Diego Padres for Taylor Rogers, pitching prospect Robert Gasser, outfielder Esteury Ruiz, and right-hand pitcher Denelson Lamet.
Mm-hmm.
Or again, Josh Hader was going to be a free agent after the 2023 season. Danny, Josh Hader has been an excellent closer for the Brewers. I have seen him live. I remember going to Brewers versus Cubs in Chicago. Yes, I wore my Brewers hat. A rep, and the Brewers won that game. So I will forever cherish that moment. Josh Hader actually closed out, and as soon as he got up, I told the fellas, I was like, man, this game over. Game over, man. Josh Hader, again, set to become a free agent at the end of the 2023 season. I think this was a cost-cutting move by the Brewers. I don't see it no other way, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more so, let's try to get everything that we possibly can for Josh Hader, realizing that he is going to again become a free agent, and we're not going to get anything from out of him or from him in a trade the longer that we wait. I think that this may have cost the Brewers a significant run into the playoffs, within the playoffs. Unfortunately for the fans, again, the Brewers have done this again.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I think the Brewers, if they were going to trade Hader like this, I think they could have gotten more bats. The Brewers have, in my opinion, struggled offensively. And so I think they could have gotten another bat here to give them some pop in their offense. And as a result of Hader being traded, I mean, the Brewers have slipped down in second place in the division, where the Cardinals are actually now a couple games ahead of the Brewers. So we'll see how this goes, Danny. But man, another one bites the dust here in Brewers land, and where a prominent player is shipped out. What say you?
But I think this all ties back to Christian Yelich. If Christian Yelich is performing up to his contract, and you have that offense, like you mentioned, a bat, if he's performing and they're playing better than what they were, I don't think they make this trade. So I know some others have struggled, but I'm looking at Christian Yelich because he's the one making the most money. And they're the ones pinning their future on him from an offensive standpoint, and he hasn't performed in 2 years or more. So it's tough to see Hader go, but I think it was just the cost of doing business, and they weren't going to pay him. So try to get as much as you can. You had a willing participant in the San Diego Padres because they are all in.
Man,
they pushed all the chips, and they took somebody else's chips
man.
and pushed them in too.
Come on, man.
For this playoff run coming up. So who knows where they'll be after the season, but you had someone who was able to at least give you some talent in return for him. Obviously, it's not Hader, but you had to get what you could at this time. But I think it's going back. I'm looking at Yelich. And if Yelich is performing, the team is playing a little bit better, I think they ride this out and then take their chances next year with Hader and determine what to do in arbitration. Tough to see him go. And hopefully they just walked off the Tampa Bay Rays. So maybe they're starting to get a little momentum after this trade. I think that just knocked a little wind out of their sails. having this happen to them at the time it happened. So we'll see how they move forward in the season and push forward towards the playoffs.
And now, Danny, last weekend, the NFL had new candidates become Hall of Famers. One Hall of Famer in particular, LeRoy Butler, who actually played for the Green Bay Packers, won the Super Bowl ring with the Green Bay Packers. He was actually inducted. And oh boy, what a awesome weekend. The pageantry and a little change of what the NFL has done, Pro Football Hall of Fame has done, and where their speeches were actually midday as opposed to in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, it was still a great time. Congratulations to LeRoy Butler, who, man, was very pivotal in that run to the world title, to the Super Bowl, but pivotal in really bringing back the Green Bay Packers. For so long, Green Bay Packers were so desolate and just a team that we did not want to see on TV. And he helped change the culture there and really helped that defense become top notch. And so here they are, who they won a championship again, and ultimately LeRoy Butler became a Hall of Famer. What say you?
Yeah, Jay, much to my dismay, he did bring a winning attitude, knowing how he came up and, with his feet and just the things he overcame, the odds he overcame to become the player, to become a Hall of Famer. Respect to him for that. He had a great career at Florida State, and being a part of that defense with Reggie White, that was part of the move to get them to that Super Bowl, which they ultimately should have had two. All in all, great career for LeRoy Butler, man. And some people call him LeRoy. I call him LeRoy. And, it was good to see him up there. Had a smile and everything, his family. And it was an awesome moment for him. So congratulations to him.
And with that, Danny, we have an interesting trading card scenario. Who we got?
Today's trading card scenario is LeRoy Butler's 1990 score rookie card for Troy Polamalu's 2003 Topps Finest rookie card. Couple quick bios. LeRoy Butler was the 48th pick overall in the 1990 draft by the Green Bay Packers. Hall of Famer, 4-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, 1-time Super Bowl champion, 38 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 20 and a half sacks, and 889 tackles. Troy Polamalu, 16th overall pick in the 2003 draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers, Hall of Famer, 8-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year. Stats, 32 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 12 sacks, 783 tackles. Jason, who do you want in your portfolio?
This was a tough one for you, boy. I tell you, I was going back and forth on this one, and I thought about how aggressive Troy Polamalu was in that backfield, man. Back in there defending. He was a beast, man. But both players are very similar because they would blitz off of the line. When LeRoy Butler did that, that was really at the time kind of unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
And so Butler, man, he lived off the line, and that pressure came, and man, that D line of the Packers became even stronger when Butler got up on that line. I will say this though, Danny. I decided to take a different spin and different angle on this in comparing. Okay, so bear with me here. I thought about, since it was so difficult for me to decide, I thought about, well, when they lost in a pivotal game, what did they do, or what happened? Okay, how many rings does Aaron Rodgers have?
1.
And who did he beat to win that ring?
Pittsburgh.
He beat Pittsburgh Steelers, where Troy Polamalu was actually playing. Okay. Aaron Rodgers sliced and diced them up, man. Aaron Rodgers had 304 yards on these cats, man, 3 touchdowns. The wide receiver and crew, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, James Jones, Donald Driver. I mean, they sliced and diced that secondary, man. I mean, they even scored on Polamalu a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And then I thought about, okay, that Green Bay Packers Denver Broncos championship or Super Bowl, John Elway only had 123 yards passing the ball. I mean, they were predominantly run dominated team, run dominant team, excuse me, with Terrell Davis. But even in that game, Danny, Butler had 9 tackles, 7 total tackles. Polamalu only had 3 tackles in that Super Bowl loss. So I thought, I'm going to have to give this to Butler, Danny. I would want Butler in my portfolio, and here's another reason why. Yes, Polamalu has all the hair. He has all the commercials, Head and Shoulders commercials, whatever. He has all these commercials and everything because of his hair. Okay, he's getting paid. Mm-hmm. But I could tell the story of who started the Lambeau Leap with Butler. I'm taking Butler's card. Who you got?
Polamalu, the way Pittsburgh used him was based on how Green Bay used LeRoy Butler, with him blitzing and just the impact he had on the game. And truth be told, that Steelers defense was very comparable to that Packers defense when Reggie White was there, because you had James Harrison and all them cats on that defense. Mm-hmm. It's very tough to look at and compare as far as who would I take over the other. Troy Polamalu has 2 Super Bowl rings. LeRoy has 1. And then I look at the cards themselves, and I think Troy Polamalu's card has more value just from, I think you just mentioned it, his impact from a outside off the field, if you want to call it that, his commercials and everything else. So it's 2 story franchises, 2 great players, but in this scenario, I'm going with Troy Polamalu's card.
Oh, here we go, man. Here we go.
To have in my portfolio. And it may be a slight bias because LeRoy plays in Green Bay.
Here we go.
But all in all, I'm going to go Troy Polamalu's card.
I got two more things to add to that, Danny. One thing I forgot to mention, even though Polamalu won Defensive Player of the Year, arguably he could have lost that to Clay Matthews. No. Clay Matthews was in the running for that Defensive Player of the Year. In my opinion, he actually surpassed Polamalu. The second thing I would have to say is LeRoy has 38 interceptions compared to 32 by Polamalu. I'm going with the 38. Going with the 38, man.
They were against Detroit and Chicago with the worst quarterbacks.
They had to play the games.
I know. Hey, you take what you get from who you playing, but
you gotta play the games on schedule. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.